Two hip kicks. Boom!
Did you run it on your side too?
No!
How did it end up playing twice? I don't understand how that worked.
I only saw it once. I only saw it once.
Oh, I know what's wrong. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. I have my YouTube on.
That would be it. Yeah, I muted.
Welcome everybody.
Veronica, hi, welcome, honey. Thank you for coming in.
To this week's Finding Your Music Mojo. I'm TC from TKRVideoCentral. I can't even talk today. And that wonderful person over here is...
I'm Dawn from Two Hip Chicks. Welcome, everybody, and thank you. It's messed up Monday. You're more than welcome to come in. Even my wife's here. Hey, baby. What's up?
Hey, Mary. So what's shaking?
So, the microphone. No, not much is shaking. It was a busy weekend, busy day. I was out doing some things, and I got some stuff drafted, and music and other things. So that's cool. But how about you? I know you've been working diligently in your office space.
Yeah, I didn't get done the way I wanted it to, but it should be this weekend. I just have to it's that big problem with the desk. So
yeah.
The old one, not the new one. The new one should be fine. The old one is too big to get out the door.
I was going to say the adage is measure twice, cut once, but yeah. And sometimes you measure twice and it still don't fit. And I don't know.
I know. It's going to be a pain, but we'll get it done eventually.
It'll happen. It's got to.
So this week we're talking about earliest musical influences, those kind of things that we listened to when we had no choice, when people around us were playing them in the womb, or also like on the radio, what your parents were playing and everything else. So all kinds of weird influences. Now I've talked about all of mine on influencers last year. So
and I think I've covered a few of mine, but it doesn't hurt to refresh and go through them just in case we miss something.
So what's the first thing you remember hearing? The first song?
Ooh, the very first song I remember hearing was Itsy Bitsy Spider, but I don't think that counts.
Well, it's still a song. Somebody singing it to you. That's still a song.
Exactly. First stuff was anything on, kids TV, Romper Room. Yeah, I'm that old. And anything like that. Captain Kangaroo was a thing. As well. I don't know if you remember Captain Kangaroo or not.
Oh yeah.
So any music on there would have been fun. I was a little too old for Zoom and a little too old for Sesame Street, but I did watch it on occasion.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else. Those are the first ones. And then of course any records or whatever that my family had.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're really going with this.
Yeah.
First the what is it? Longes Symphony Orchestra doing their multiple renditions of whatever Reader's Digest thing that was put out at the time. Mostly, I think it was Christmas music. Probably was my first, the first thing I remember listening to, because they'd always break out those records with all these different artists of the day doing, and then of course choral music of all kinds, choir music for Christmas. So Christmas. Yeah. Probably be my first main exposure to music. Veronica says, influenced by my mom, classical music, kids songs, German folk songs, sang with her choir, mostly classical music. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's always good. And and there you go. And influenced by her older sister with Depeche Mode. Yep.
Yeah, why not? No, yeah, I had aunts and uncles who had music a little later, But the first stuff I remember for sure was the holidays records, the Christmas music.
Yeah.
Listening to those on the record player.
Those are good. Yeah.
Yep.
I think my mother was a radio person. She always had the radio on, and she loved the TV variety shows. So I saw a lot of those there. But I think the first thing I remember was her playing. She always had like a little collection of 45s. I don't think I still have any of them. But
Anytime I might be able to get them back to you. It's just...
She had Pete Fountain, a couple of his. She had Wayne Newton. She had Gail Garnett, "We'll Sing in the Sunshine," which I've said several times is one of my favorite songs of all time.
I love that.
And she listened and she watched Lawrence Welk every week. So I got into, that kind of music, and she kept on the easy listening station. So there was a lot of soft FM, like Simon and Garfunkel, Dionne Warwick, Perry Como, stuff like that. And I grew up listening to that. And then we lived in the tiniest town at the time. It was the smallest town in Washington, Waverly. There were 79 people in the town.
That is small.
And there were a few teenagers who exposed me to Nancy Sinatra, that Paul Revere and the Raiders and the Monkees. And so I started getting into pop music from them. But my mom always had all different kinds of things and encouraged me to play she bought me a little suitcase player when I was 3. And she replaced it a year later when that one broke. And I had 45s and Kitty records and everything. And I've loved it, and I'm still doing it. Yeah, obviously. So
I've noticed you've got quite the
That's just 2 of them. There's a third one you can't see over here.
I know, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. So my grandmother had West Side Story. So I remember listening to that, growing up listening to that. Like I said, all the Christmas stuff. Musical theater, so like West Side Story but that was, I think, the movie with, what's her name? Natalie Wood. And, So that was the movie soundtrack, I believe we had. And then maybe 7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had My Fair Lady too, possibly Easter Parade. I cannot remember exactly. Stuff like that. So musical movies had some of that as well.
Yeah, those are good.
And then growing up, coming up from into my preteen years, I had all the records and stuff that my older siblings had, basically aunts and uncles anyway, had left. I had some Elvis from the Momster here. I had, Bobby Rydell, of course. We know that I've been cursed with that song forever. And a few other ones. But yeah, and also my mom listened to like Patsy Cline, and she definitely loved Elvis though. And she's look at there she goes.
Yeah.
Grew up listening to classical music, lots of big bands, love them all. Yeah, and I do actually love some big band stuff too.
Yep, me too.
Yep. Glenn Miller.
Did you listen to the Hen House 5+2 when I sent it to you?
I did. That's cool. That's cool.
It is. Yeah. I think when it came to, I grew up for the first few years in Washington, but when we moved to Ohio and I was around my grandparents more, they're heavy country fans. So unfortunately I got exposed to a lot of early country, which I couldn't stand. And, my grandmother, one thing that rubbed off on me from my grandmother was Andy Williams. My mother never could stand Andy Williams. I don't know why. She never really said, but she just never liked Andy Williams. She liked all the other crooners. Like
Frank Sinatra?
Mostly Como, Tony Bennett, people like that. A little bit of Sinatra, but she didn't like Andy Williams. My grandmother did, and my grandmother instilled a love for him in me. I love Andy Williams. And I like a lot of that stuff. I mean, my mother also listened to a lot of that, what is now known to today's generation as lounge music, the Mondo stuff and the Space Age Bastard Pad and Esquivel. I have an enormous love for that stuff and the easy listening stuff from the beautiful music channels. Beautiful music. 101 Strings and all those. I love those too.
Yeah, I love me some 101 strings for sure. And there's a lot of if you go just bin digging, you can find 101 strings LPs everywhere.
Yep.
I swear. they're great because there's so many different ones.
101 strings and Al Hurt. You can find them in any thrift store.
Yeah, Al Hurt for sure. I probably see more
Another
Al
one my
Hurt
mom loved.
than I see 101 strings now I think about it. But yeah, at least up here.
Yeah, my mom was also potty for Boots Randolph, so I had yakety sax running in my life from the time I was a kid on.
Not just with Benny Hill.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. My sister is 7 years older than me. We shared some room, a room for years, so anything she listened to, I was exposed to. Hindsight, decent stuff. Yep. And mom was Elvis, and country was Patsy Cline. Kim loves Patsy Cline too.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite first band was Ace of Base.
Ace of Base, yeah.
First band. Oh God, first band. Now I'm going to have a heart failure.
Why? Because
that's too recent old to be first band to me. Because now, yeah, I'm old.
No. The first. So my sister. Speaking of sisters, my sister Jody, she who's really my aunt, but I was raised by my grandmother, so. There you have it. Mm-hmm. She loved the Moody Blues. She also liked Pink Floyd, but the Moody Blues, that's where I get my love for Moody Blues, was probably listening to all of her stuff for sure. So that was one that I got from her. Yeah, you're an 80s baby. That's okay. We don't discriminate. We love the 80s. There's some great music in the 80s. I love the 80s.
Welcome to Phil Five and Dime, classic country, Zydeco, and rock for me. Everybody's doing cool. Welcome, DC. DC, the first music I owned was my cousin gave me 8-track tapes, Kiss Destroyer, Dark Side of the Moon, and something from Elvis. I gave my sister the Elvis and kept the other two. Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon should be experienced on an 8-track at least once. At least once. Because there's just no getting over that ka-chunk at that point. You're going to cut something in half. For sure.
8-tracks are a pain in the ass. Always will be.
I agree. 100%. I'd rather have a cassette any day of the week. Any day of the week than 8-track. For sure. So as I matured, so I got a hand-me-down record player, which I could play all those old 45s on and stuff. Probably why I love 45 so much. And then as I matured into my own, it was R&B radio from the town we lived in, because it was a diverse neighborhood, as they say, which they played a lot of Motown and stuff. So
Motown's always good.
Motown's always good. I love
Motown's always good.
So I got heavy into that, and then kind of broadened my horizons from probably as we moved out into the late 70s, early 80s. So yes, I was alive back then, and I actually got married in the 80s. So yeah, don't hurt yourself, kid. Oh my gosh. Understood. Yep. I know.
Yeah, as I was moving forward in my life, when I got into grade school, I was thoroughly into pop music. Now I remember my mom would have the top pop radio stations on when we were in the car. So I heard the Beatles and all that stuff, and the Doors. But once I got into the Partridge Family, my pop leanings were permanently Bobby Sherman. I got into Teen Idols in a big way.
Oh boy.
And so I was an avowed Tiger Beat reader from the time I was 6 on, reading about all the new music and all the new stars and stuff. And it was fun. But it was also that kind of stuff influenced what I listened to. If there was somebody in there and I was like, ooh, they have a record, Mom, can you get this for me?
Yeah, exactly. Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I made up money. Yeah.
The Monkees, for sure. Partridge Family, yes. I'm trying to think of what else. Just, yeah, those for sure. I'm trying to think of other ones too. He's 7. Yeah, I know. He doesn't know what CDs and stuff are. You have to tell him about iPods. He'll figure it out eventually.
Hey, Susie, welcome.
Hey, Phil. Hey, Susie. Welcome. He'll figure it out. There'll be a history class somewhere where they start bringing up these archaic machines, and he'll go, "What in the heck is that?" And he'll learn.
Just tune in. There's a couple of channels that specialize in showing stuff from the 70s and 80s that make me feel old.
As it should.
You remember this kind of telephone? You know, you used to actually have to use a party line to talk to people, and it made noises, and you had to punch buttons, and you had to have a free telephone line. It wasn't just done through the satellite, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you had to be wired. You had to be hardwired. It wasn't fun at all. The fun of slamming down the phone, though.
Yeah,
you can't really do that with a cell phone. You can, but it would break it. But you could, no, boom, slam that phone down. You could do the rotary phone toy when he was younger. Yeah.
Now that's scary. Okay. Kids knowing what a rotary phone is and from the toys, and
Old
but
soul,
not knowing what a CD is. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, I know. That's a frightening thought. When you were first listening to stuff, when did you first notice that your taste had started to evolve and change? When you were, was it still when you were a preteen, or was it after you hit your teenage years and started having influences around, you know?
I think for me it was probably when I was, so preteen, I'd say maybe 11, 12. So yeah, I would say it was preteen. And that was when we were in the process of changing households, moving around a little bit. And I just found things that interested me more than what was around the house. So, and listening to radio and things mostly, because, you know, there was 1600 on your AM dial was WTRV radio.
Hey, I have a whole list of that stuff up on my website. I've talked about my radiography before, all the channels I've listened to over my lifetime.
Yeah. So True Radio was pop music, but it was more R&B, and that's when I started to realize I enjoyed that kind of music. So Missed Your Flip Phone. Yeah, I know. They're making new ones. They're just not flip phony enough for me.
Yep, those were who was around when I was reading.
Bobby Sherman, David Cassie. Yeah, Osmonds for sure. The Jackson 5. Me and my brother used to do little dance skits and sing along with the Jackson 5 and the Osmonds. It was a lot of fun. You'll never see footage of that because we didn't have a video camera at the time, or any kind of Super 8 or anything like that. So there's
Which is probably a good thing.
There's no evidence.
Exactly.
You're not going to call me on it. There's no evidence. It's all hearsay. For sure. But yeah, and then as I got older, probably the angsty teenage years hit. So I got angsty. You know, you get into angstier music. But
do you?
You didn't? You didn't have that angsty teenage years?
We were slightly different because you're slightly older than me.
Thank you.
Just a little bit.
You got that on me for sure. What?
Where you were
well,
yeah, but where you were leaning toward a lot of the proggy, the cool proggy stuff like Moody Blues, Alan Parsons. You got into those heavy. Probably around the same time I was opening up to disco. So I went the other way.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where the Carpenters fall into that mix either, because I think that was preteen too.
Yeah. Definitely for me. Yeah.
Just teen for me. But I mean, she wasn't singing about a lot of happy stuff either.
No, but I'll tell you, when from the second I first saw them, when Close to You was out, I was stuck on them forever. I wanted to be Richard Carpenter. I used to pretend to play the piano like he did and everything, and it's like, okay.
I wanted to play the drums. There you go.
There you go.
Another life. Susie wants to know, where are we both located? We're in Michigan. My wife and I are in Michigan, and TC is where?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Boston. Oh, okay. You're in Mass.
Metro Boston.
Metro Boston. He's in Boston. For sure. So yeah, child doesn't understand they don't have a tablet, laptop, right? Yeah. There were, it was the Flintstones back then. We didn't have the tablets we had.
It's showing what I think one of the most influential memories I have as a child was learning to hate Hank Williams. And the reason I did was because I had a pair of uncles who were still in their teenage years. They were like 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
And a group, my Uncle Ron had a group of his friends, and they had a band, and of course they would fall down drunk and then start singing Hank Williams tunes. So I developed a healthy hatred for Hank Williams over the years. Hank Williams.
What was your favorite song to sing drunk? I gotta know.
Lovesick Blues.
Oh, yeah.
Lovesick Blues and I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. And I was 7 when they shoved me in front of the microphone to sing Your Cheatin' Heart. So I developed a really healthy hatred of Hank Williams.
Because a 7-year-old knows all about cheating hearts.
I know, but I mean, I was around all that music because my grandpa had all the albums and played them constantly. And it's like, really?
Subtle distaste for Hank Williams. Well, they were watching.
Well, now I'm older and I've grown to like him. But back then, as a kid, I couldn't stand him.
They were watching Hee Haw and listening to Hank Williams.
Well, I watched Hee Haw. We've discussed that. So did you.
Yes, we did.
See, one of the early shows for Dot and I's improvisation of Where Are You Tonight?
You'll see it. It's there. It's there. This is one of those things that just don't leave your brain, unfortunately. I don't know
Did you guys, did you ever watch any of the television stuff? I mean, obviously Hee Haw, but like I said, my mom was a huge variety show fan. She always watched like Dean Martin and the Hollywood Palace and anything that had good singers on. Carol Burnett, the Kraft Music Hall.
We watched Carol Burnett. I think there was a couple other Solid Gold Dancers. I remember them. Let's see what else. Not a lot. We did enjoy Carol Burnett though, and then there was the Donnie and Marie show, Sonny and Cher show. Yeah, no kidding.
It does seem like it, yeah.
Exactly. Laugh-In, which I don't know if that's a variety show or not, but we did watch that as well.
Yep, Sonny and Cher was a lot of fun too. I agree, DC. Yeah. I love that. They were funny. I became an enormous Cher fan because of that show. So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, they did a great job, but of course, she's still good. So, we discussed how it was also raised in Eurovision Song Contest. There you go, from the 90s and 2000s.
There you go, Veronica, a woman after my heart.
Yep, you touched him in a way that others can't. There you go.
And don't forget, Junior Eurovision is ramping up right now, and we'll be doing the contest 2 weeks from Sunday.
Junior Eurovision?
Junior Eurovision.
What are the criteria for Junior Eurovision?
You are between 8 and 15 performing.
Wow. There's some talented kids out there. I think that should be.
There are. I haven't heard all the songs yet. I was supposed to start coverage on the 1st, but I haven't got the new setup done. So hopefully this week I'll catch up on the songs at least while I have a chance. But
just throw a green screen behind you. You're golden.
We tried that. It doesn't work with my system. See?
Yeah, well, you need a green screen.
I get all blurry. I have that, but I could do that, I suppose.
It takes part of your head away. You're camping.
I'm out camping. I don't camp. I don't camp at all.
I don't camp. I was going to say, well, since when are you out camping? We're live feeding from the campground. Thank you.
Well, I don't have a mansion like Ella does. I'm sorry.
I don't know it's her lighting. For whatever reason, it works really well for her.
It does. You can't even tell on hers.
Can't tell at all. It's kind of annoying. Or she doesn't move around as much, or she has just a white wall. Maybe that's what it is behind her. And we have stuff.
Yeah, that could be it.
Welcome to my stuff room. There you go. Tons of stuff. I think it's just the solid background it does it for. Everybody, just still. Just sit still. I know, right? Just sit here, like, don't move at all. A disco ball up there. I should probably light that up.
You need to get a light for that. Yes,
I'm gonna. I got plans. It'll happen.
I know how that is. I know how that is. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly. Oh, thank you for wearing the merch today too, by the way. I appreciate it. I did not. I was running around like a mad woman.
You were the merch enough on everything anyway. Promoting
like
my stuff on your shows, on Johnny's shows, on the Deal of the Dons. I've seen you wear them on all of them, so that's very cool. I appreciate it.
My buddy. Support my buddy. So for those of you guys who are just like rolling in, where we're talking about early musical influences. Early. We're talking early. We're talking like romper room early.
Childhood and preteens, yeah.
Childhood and preteens.
Well, I've talked about it, and I've talked about doing a mini-series, but I think the most influential thing in my life was the summer of '78. There was so much great music out that year. I was home alone during most of the summer. My mom worked a summer job that worked from like 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. So it was, I was there entertaining myself most of the time and listening to all kinds of great music. And I still think it's one of the most important periods in time. Obviously, I'm not the only one. I mean, Barry Manilow did an album devoted to the summer of '78. So that's where the title came from the upcoming miniseries, if I ever get it finished. And I will,
because I'm looking forward
once I get the new setup, I'll be able to do it even in another different way I was thinking of. So it'll get done eventually. But yeah, that was such great stuff. And that was the summer I was 15 years old, and they had so many new acts come out that were just starting to click big, like Van Halen and Journey, and even Styx, who had a bigger hit in '77, and a few like that, where I first started to have rock leanings, and that there was still great disco and great pop and everything else. It's one of the reasons why I still love the music from that year. Scott
brings up a point. MTV in the 80s.
Yeah.
When they still played music. Exactly. Thank you, Scott, for coming in, by the way.
Welcome, Scott.
Some of that, some of my in the 80s, MTV definitely had an influence on what I was listening to and watching.
Oh, yeah.
Because if it had a music video, it was on MTV. So, yeah, and a lot of bands, I think, were made and lost on MTV, but there's just a lot of bands that I probably would have never heard if it hadn't been for MTV. A lot of groups and a lot of artists. Bowie is one of them for some reason. I never heard Bowie before MTV.
You never heard Fame or Fashion or any of those that were hits? Wow.
No. What else?
Hi, Michael. Welcome.
Hey, Michael. The Angriest Daughter is in the house. Yeah. Cyndi Lauper, right?
Yep.
I'm trying to think of who else. Dexy's Midnight Runners. Never who they were until MTV, of course. But I think a lot of bands.
Of course, they had one hit and then just disappeared, like a lot of MTV acts did, unfortunately.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. What was your favorite MTV video, guys? Let's hear.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because let's be real, video was the thing as well as the music. So
it didn't hurt. I didn't have MTV for the first year or so it was on. We didn't get it. When we moved to Lancaster and it was available on the cable system, Mom thought it was the worst thing that ever happened because I would sit and watch it like 18 hours a day.
And then VH1.
VH1 we never had at all until I moved up here.
Oh, you didn't? No. That was like MTV Light. That was different. It was more like.
I heard a lot of great songs on there too when I first started listening to it. But I think the thing I remember the most, the stuff I remember the most from MTV were the fact that MTV was promoting a band I had already gotten into that nobody was really into yet, and that was Def Leppard. Because we had a local radio station in Spokane that played the hell out of Hello America off the first album. Oh. And I've loved them ever since. And I also loved the fact that they were doing a lot of the new wave stuff that I liked. They were doing the Cars, they were doing the Buggles. Loved Video Killed the Radio Star, which they launched the network with.
Yep.
And then they got into more, even more diverse stuff, bringing in middle of the road acts that were still leaning heavy, like Billy Joel and the British Invasion, like Duran Duran and Kajagoogoo and Naked Eyes and Australia's Men at Work, I still love Colin Hay to this day. And then of course Michael Jackson changed it all when he came along with Thriller. So
true that. So Bearded Pixie, Greg King Band, Jeopardy was one of his favorite videos. That was a great one.
And Weird Al's I Lost on Jeopardy was good too.
Yeah, a little Weird Al there. I Lost on Jeopardy, baby. So never got her break on Carson. She gave Oh, that's sweet. That's cool. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, I think Thriller was a big hit too because of MTV.
Yeah.
It was a great album and a great song, but the Thriller, the video that came out with that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you had a video store, you picked up the making of Thriller. That was fun. It came out in VHS.
Yeah, I remember. I have that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I picked it up. I bought all the singles. I bought the 12-inch singles. I was buying everything at the time. So I don't think I know if I still have them or not.
You do. So yeah, John Landis directed that. It was really a great video. And
of course, like I said last week, the Thriller highlight for us was the Vincent Price's spoken word at the end, which is he's just awesome.
Yeah, he's probably best known for that too. That's the weird part for anybody, kids of the day.
Yeah, from the 80s forward, they remember Thriller.
Yeah, they don't remember.
They remember
him from whatever.
They remember Thriller, and they remember him from Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah,
and that's probably the most places he's remembered for until. Unless then today's fans are finding him again thanks to Svengoolie. They've shown a ton of his stuff on there, including House on Haunted Hill, which is one of my favorite movies with him. Love that movie.
It's a great movie. I agree. Yeah, so MTV has the opposite effect too. It killed artists like Chris Cross, who didn't fit in with the videos. True. Christopher Cross. Yeah, at that point you had to look good and sound good for MTV. And if you sounded good but didn't look good, you probably weren't going to make it. But there was ways around that too, though. You could do an animated video if you didn't want to have your face on screen. You could do an art type of thing. I mean, even Peter Gabriel did some animated stuff, stop motion animated stuff.
Yeah.
Part of it, he did show his face, but he wasn't like performing. There was ways to get around that, but I agree. And I like Christopher Cross, but hey.
I do too. I love Christopher Cross, but yeah, he didn't do videos well. There were artists that were successful that didn't. There were artists that didn't have videos out that still had pretty big hits, but you know, it was few and far between. And then of course you had those videos that was so influenced and the video could kill your career, like Billy Squires' Rock Me Tonight.
Did that kill his career?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why?
People didn't like to see this heavy metal rocker dancing. It was like, okay.
Oh, please.
I never had a problem with the video. I always loved the song, and he's still rocking, but, you know, he's never had the kind of success he had back then.
Stroke Me didn't take him out?
Well, that was before. Yeah, that was well before. That made him a bigger star. Yeah, it's one of them. I don't know if I'd say it was the best video, but it's definitely up there. One of the best. That was
groundbreaking, though. Really.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, come on, you're stepping in and out of reality in a drawing. That's pretty cool. So, I thought it was neat. It was definitely something that you'd have to watch over and over again, which I think makes a good video. You're listening to music and it's catchy, but also you're watching the video just because you're like, how the hell do they do this? Cool. Wrong. Exactly. It killed Billy Squires' career, says DC. Yeah, maybe. There's very few Billy Squires songs I really like.
Oh, I'm sorry. I love the guy. He's one of the metal guys I really like.
Ah, okay. Yeah, loved Actually, I loved Duran Duran too. And I definitely think they were made by MTV.
Yeah, and the cool thing is there were several acts that came out of MTV that just don't seem to know, hey, you know, we're getting older, maybe we should like retire.
Mm-hmm.
Like Duran Duran, who still has a hit every 4 or 5 years, and Bon Jovi. Yeah. And then of course the Stones, who were all over early MTV, and now they've got a brand new album and a brand new hit out. It's like, wow.
Talk about longevity. Jesus.
It's actually a good song. The first single, Angry. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Stones fan, but I like certain stuff, and I do like the new single.
It just amazes me, though, that they're still around. Ooh. Yeah, Bruce Hornsby hardly had any videos. True. Yeah. Mary would know that for sure. My wife will chime in on that one. Billy Idol was a bad motorcycle accident.
I remember when that happened. Yeah, that's why they did the painting. The one with which song was that they used the paintings on? I forgot.
It was a great wedding. I can't remember.
Yeah, Duran Duran did have some good videos. They also had Wild Boys, which is just like a mess from beginning to end.
Now, was that the video you don't like, or the music?
Oh, I love the song. I love it. I didn't. It's not that I don't like the video. It's just it's like, what the hell are they doing in this video? You know, it was fun. It was all of it was fun.
In the Doors movie. Oh yeah, Billy Idol.
You going back to the prog stuff again from the mid 70s.
Yes.
Are you a fan of the Jeff Wayne War of the Worlds?
Oh yeah.
Because I think that's one thing we probably agree on as far as that kind of music is. I still to this day think that's one of the biggest masterpieces of all time.
And you know what? The weird thing is I don't have a copy of that, and I really need to get one because I do like it.
I didn't have it until a few years ago. I finally bought it on CD, and I had just the singles and stuff. But it was a great project, and that was another summer of '78. June of '78 is when that came out.
There you go.
Mary says true about Bruce Hornsby, though lately he's been putting out videos here and there for his new music. Yep.
Yeah.
It had something. Wrestling and dunks and dunk tanks and all kinds of weird stuff.
They said they damn near killed him or something. Well, boys, Angry Otters said they nearly killed him and broke for lunch and left him underwater. Yeah. Try not to. I found a great YouTube channel for music. Ben by Jin. I'm not sure.
Benjing. I'm next one down.
Oh,
Benjing
okay.
On Professor of Rock. Yeah. He has a good channel.
Thank you.
Although he can be wicked annoying at times too.
Not just annoying, but wicked annoying.
He gets a little up on his high horse occasionally about acts I like that he doesn't think are much of anything. So but I enjoy watching his stuff. He has good stuff.
You need to offer up a spot for him to come on and you guys can do a point counterpoint. And by the end of it, you'll be throwing insults at each other and calling each other ignorant. And there you go.
And the ratings will go through the roof.
And the ratings will go there.
We'll go viral. We'll go viral.
That's right. Time to bring on the drama, baby.
You're no help, Dawn.
I know. I'm sorry. I loathe the drama, but it does bring on the video views. That's all I can say. I do loathe the drama, though. But yeah.
How early? This is slightly off topic, but it's also, I'm curious. How early did you get into the mechanics of electronics? Because a lot of it has to do with music. Did you start when you're having trouble when you were younger or as a kid, or was it because I watch you do these videos where you're repairing and cleaning, and I'm like, wow, I do not have the knowledge to do all this stuff. I wish I did.
It started when I was younger. As a child, I needed to know how things worked.
Yeah, Kim was the same way.
It was like I just needed to know how things work. So I would, take things apart. And if I was lucky, I put them back together in the right way so I could use them again. But yeah, it started when I was a young child, like way preteen, like as soon as I could find a screwdriver and a wrench kind of thing. So, but yeah, and I've always just been a avid watcher of YouTube videos on how to fix things, but I've also read books, and I'm mechanically inclined. That doesn't hurt. And I'm not afraid to make a mistake, which I think that keeps a lot of people from doing anything like that. I'll boo-boo. I don't care.
including scattering the buffering liquid everywhere.
Just blow that shit everywhere. Yeah.
I lost it when I was watching that. That was so funny.
And I left it in. I could have edited that out, but I didn't because it's fun. And then I had to slow-mo it down too, just to make sure everybody saw it. Yeah, I'm not afraid to make a mistake, but that's that's learning. That's how you learn. So I've always been that way. So yeah, I enjoy digging into things and seeing if I can fix them or not.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never been that mechanically inclined, although I like gadgets. I don't know how to fix them.
And it did all start with a record player. I mean, it really did. The first thing I took apart was a record player. One of those Voice of Music, the little box type, suitcase type. Yeah.
But not the close and play.
Not the close and play. I didn't remember that. I think that just got broke and lost, and I just threw it away because it sounded like crap. But yeah, not the close and play. Although I do need to fix the one I have now. But yeah. But yeah, I've just always, and it's always been a thing for me, the quality of the sound of the music. If there's a way to improve the sound of it, put a bigger speaker in it, put a better amp in it, put a better cartridge on it, whatever, just to get a better sound out of the music. I did that with my car a lot too when I had, because we had an Oldsmobile, 66 Oldsmobile Delta 88, and it had just an AM radio in it. So I took out the AM radio and put an AM FM cassette, and then of course I had to put speakers in there and get an amp and to do this and do that. So yeah, I was always worried about how good things sounded. I know.
You're the Tim Allen of electronic stuff.
Oh yeah, more power, baby. Louder, better quality sound.
Michael says, "I'm sorry, I can't." He corrected it. Listening to James Blunt video anymore, it makes me cry.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has triggers like that. Yeah,
dude has the best way to rip your heart out of your chest, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has a new album out too. I need to pick that up because I love his stuff. And it's like, Dee, we'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, hon. Take care. Teenagers, my taste in music was also crush taste. Oh, yeah, precious taste. Yeah, true that. AC/DC. My first relationship was AC/DC, Rush, and he did a little bit of ELO, but more. I'm gonna think of what else. Aldo Nova, and who else?
I love Aldo Nova.
T-Rex. Awesome. T-Rex.
Yeah.
And a few other those type of bands. He was into a Kiss. Now that I think about it, Kiss. So yeah, those. But that I don't have a lot of those albums. I have an Aldo Nova album. I've got Rush. I did actually continue my love affair with Rush from that. But yeah, for sure, your relationship will bring stuff into that.
Yeah, Rush is one of those acts that I've always kind of semi-liked. I like some of their stuff, but I'm not a big devotee. I had a neighbor friend of mine back when I was in high school that was just worshiped the ground they walked on. He would play along with every song on his bass guitar, and just really, I mean, it's that kind of stuff that does become part of your life. I mean, Rush was one of those, and for Kim, it was heavy metal. She was always into heavy metal from the time she was about 12 or 13. She got me into more of it. I got her into more pop that she would not really have listened to without my influence.
Actually, that relationship was where Def Leppard came into the mix as well. Now that I think about it. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to lock that down because you're like, oh, I've always listened to it, but you haven't always listened to it. There was reasons, right? Close and Play was the first 45, right? Your first, yeah, exactly. And they tortured records. Poor Susie. They tortured records and they ruined many a record. Ingratitude Kevin Bryant's first. Yeah, very cool. Phil Collins, Don Henley.
I have not had the fortune to see New Kids. Kim won't go, so I'm not going by myself.
Aww. Hey, Larry.
Same reason we haven't seen Backstreet Boys either, because I love them and she won't go see them either.
I'll see from Metallica and realized 45 years ago. Oh my God. Van Halen over for Black Sabbath. Oh yeah. Black Sabbath. Scary. I like them. I like Ozzy.
Yeah.
I like me some Ozzy. Go to see Theory of a Dead man and Skillet in 3 weeks. Cool.
Okay, Michael, now you're after my heart. I love Justified and Ancient by KLF with Tammy Wynette. Great song. One of my favorites.
Very cool.
And where'd Larry sneak in? Hello, Larry.
I didn't earlier. See you. He was talking about Mammoth Wolf came in. You popped him up there.
I did. I didn't even see who did it. That's sorry, cool. Larry. Welcome. Let's see, where'd I leave off? Man and Skillet in 3 weeks.
Man and Skillet. Nice. And Crafty Kitty's Vintage Leanne is here. Welcome. Yeah, talking about early influences of music. It's kind of weird how it just kind of spreads right out, and depending on who you're associating with. and what they listen to, you kind of have a tendency to pick up their stuff.
Yeah,
it's like a virus. Catch it from other people. Music. That's it. Music is a virus.
Going back to the childhood, it just popped into my head where you had picked up Motown from the area that you were in. Mm-hmm. I've always said, and I've said in the vinyl community, you know, I'm a casual Beatles fan. Okay. I like the Beatles. I like the Doors. I like, you know, some of the stuff. I like the Stones. The band that I went potty over was Hermits, and it's because my aunt was a huge fan. She had everything they did, and they were well done. I mean, Mickey Most was a top-notch producer, gave them the best sound they could possibly have. I still love their stuff. I still listen to it a lot.
I agree. They had some good stuff, for sure. But yeah, you'll pick it up from your family and friends. That's for sure. Susie, I admit I love Elvis and B.J. Thomas. B.J. Thomas, yeah.
Yep.
Another good artist. Julie Brown.
Michael, kids back then thought Julie Brown and Downtown Julie Brown were the same person.
No, not that Julie Brown. Downtown Julie Brown. Yeah.
And the question is, where are either one of them right now? I haven't heard of either one of them for years. Don't some of
the old the VJs from MTV have like serious radio shows and stuff they do?
Yeah, Mark and Alan, I think, at least. I don't know about Martha or Nina, but Mark and Alan did.
Jacob, Scott saying Jacob picked me up today listening to The Doors. He is 25. I was shocked. He watched Dr. Remy and liked them. Yeah, The Doors are good.
All righty, Veronica. We'll see you around.
Bye, honey. See ya. Thank you for coming in, Veronica. Good night, Veronica. Hey, yeah, Journey. Good point. Dragonfly Bees resell Journey. Journey played to death.
Yeah.
For many different reasons, but they still had some good music.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're one of those bands that, and I don't know if because they're used a lot in commercials or what.
It could
maybe
be
Glee. Maybe it was Glee that ruined Journey for me. I don't know.
Glee ruined a lot of stuff. There was can you tell I was not a fan of that show?
Have you ever watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I watched it. I tried to get into it. I loved Fame. I figured it would be kind of the same thing, but no. Going back again to teenage years, what are the concerts you remember seeing when you were younger?
I went to very few concerts. I did go to a Hall & Oates concert before I knew who Hall & Oates was. You know, but that was it. I mean, basically, we went to very few. As I got older, I went to a few concerts that were like B band. I don't want to say B bands, but they were playing smaller venues because I didn't go to the bigger venues. Don't Stop Believing. Yeah, I know. He was very heavy on Journey. I think they ruined it for me. I really do. So yeah, we didn't go to a lot of larger venues because we were poor. And we didn't have a lot of money. But if they went to like a hockey rink or someplace and played, yeah. So Hall & Oates, I saw them. Later on, of course, I got to see bands or artists that I gave two shits about. But I never really went to any big stadium events per se. But I'll do Melissa Etheridge, and we did the Indigo Girls, just stuff like that we really like the bands and the music. But I didn't do a lot of concerting.
No, I didn't either. I lived outside the big town, and I had no transportation after I was 16, so it was hard for me to get back and forth to Spokane to see stuff. But I did get to see Styx, and I got to see Kansas, both in the summer of '79. And they were both, I mean, Kansas put on one hell of a show. They were just amazing. And this is when they were coming off of Dust in the Wind and that album.
Yeah, that's a good album.
And then later on, I saw other stuff, but nothing until, of course, my obsession with Hanson. I've seen them 4 times, but you know.
I know, and that's okay. Well, you could say then we have an obsession with Melissa Etheridge because, you know, we've seen her at least once and maybe twice.
We've been to see the Swell season 4 times too, so they're.
Yeah, poor Bearded Picker. He said Cheap Trick was his first concert. Although Cheap Truck is a good one too.
Cheap Truck is good. Yeah,
I like that one.
Cheap Truck.
10.
They're awesome.
10. Holy crap. That's early to go. Peter Noon, Herman's 30 years ago, opening for Monkeys. Oh, yeah. That would be a good one. Yeah, we just don't have a lot of like big venues.
Yeah.
Around here. I mean, we could go to Chicago and see people, but I'm people phobic.
Yeah, we haven't been to a show for a while, since before the pandemic, and we usually ended up at the House of Blues or a couple of other places.
That'd be fun.
Nothing really huge. The only the Agnes Arena, which is connected to Boston College or Boston University, which one of them is. We saw the Swell Season there one year, and they were just terrific. But they went to we saw them 4 times at 4 different venues in 4 years, or 2.5 years. They were great. Leanne, no, I was born in Spokane, but I have not lived out there since I was 18. I grew up in Harrington, most of it, and Waverly partially, but I know where Cheney is, and my aunt lived near Seattle, and we spent a year on the coast out near Lake Bay. Miss Washington, I loved it. My mom loved it too. And nice to know you're there. It's a great state. You've never been there, visit. Especially the peninsula. It's awesome.
Yeah. That's the other thing. People are aging out. Our favorite artists are aging out big time. Big time. Yeah. It's sad. It's true. Yeah. Unless the Stones will go on forever. We know that. Mick Jagger is going to, be performing as a head in a jar someday, I'm sure. Yeah,
Mick and Paul McCartney is still out there touring. And
true.
I mean, Mick was saying in an interview a few years ago that he had now, when he was 20s and doing Stones, he figured he'd be done rocking by 40 and would be doing a regular job. Here he is at almost 80, if he hasn't already turned 80, and a brand new album. I'm like, that's crazy.
That is crazy. At that age, yeah. Ooh, Elton John would be a good one. Yeah, there's artists I would go see now if I could, I'd have to travel to Vegas. But yeah, so Elton John would be a cool one for sure. That's another one.
Michael, where? How long ago was that? Was that the recent tour? Because he was up here too, and I didn't know it till it was too late. We would have probably went because Rosalind opened for him, and I love her. She's awesome.
I forgot about Elton John, by the way, Susie. So thank you. The same aunt that got me turned on to the Moody Blues got me turned on to Elton John, which is interesting. Absolutely love the Yellow Brick Road album.
Yeah. Oh, sure. God, who doesn't? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Let's take a poll. Anybody hate the Yellow Brick Road album?
I was when I was in 5th grade, another kid that I lived near that went to school, he lived across the street from me. He was in 6th grade, and he worshipped the ground Elton John walked on. Could not stop talking about him and how great his music was and how great a person he was. Never stopped talking about Caribou or Goodbye Yellow Brick Road or any of them. And I never gained that appreciation for Elton until I was a little older. I did it finally when I was in my late teens, but
obviously this child was ahead of his time, right? Let's see. What we got here? Saw Joan.
I've seen Def Leppard. I've seen Def Leppard twice. They were awesome.
Yep.
Go through these real quick. See what we got. Yeah.
Did his retirement tour? Yeah, but probably not. He's always going to come back. Band found.
He's saying this is it. Elton is saying no more touring. Period. End of discussion. So we'll see. But Cher did the same thing, and then she did the Here We Go Again tour.
And a back.
So,
and a back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll retire one more time tour. Yeah. But also, the good way to retire is like set yourself up as an act in Vegas and just have people come to you. You don't have to travel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can entertain at your leisure.
I mean, today's Vegas is completely different too. You've got all these popular acts who are doing successful residencies. I mean, Adele, the Backstreet Boys, a lot of them. The current Hanson has done a few things out there. Yeah. And I mean, the residencies are insane. And if you can get in the new Sphere, Oh, I would take a residency in that place in a second if I were an artist. That place is amazing. I mean, just like I keep telling Tim, I said, we're going to go to Vegas some one of these days. I want to go to the Sphere. That place is awesome.
Put on your walking shoes, honey, because it's huge. Vegas is huge. 100 artists for Larry. Holy moly.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a lot.
I can't say I've seen that many. I've seen
Santana. There you go.
I saw Loretta Lynn when I was a kid, Bobby Vinton when I was a kid. Those are both ones my mom went to. And I saw Kansas and Toto and Styx, and didn't see another concert until probably the early 90s. Nelson, Def Leppard, Ricky Martin.
Ooh. Scott went to Toad and the Wet Sprocket in a venue of 500. Nice. That would be interesting. I like the more intimate venues. I really do. I think you just get a better show for some reason.
We have a bunch of those up here now. A bunch of new ones that are smaller and more intimate.
Never saw Merle Haggard as a kid. Ooh, Merle Haggard.
Although I don't like that. The House of Blues in Boston is just, it's no seating, so it's a standing room only. But there is like above you, there's a bar. So if you're standing too close, you get beer and crap dropped on you. It's not fun. But that's where I've seen Hanson.
Why do you smell like a brewery?
Owl City. We saw Stryper there. My hearing's never been the same.
Bring earplugs.
Yeah.
You might have to. Yeah, I'm sure a few people have lost their hearing.
And I'm excited because I have tickets to see Daddy Frere in March at one of the new venues, Big Night Live here, which is a smaller, intimate place. And they have accessible seating, so we'll be able to sit and not have to stand and scream the whole night. And I cannot wait to see him. I'm such a huge fan. Going to the
concert to stand and scream. There you go.
And I haven't been to City Winery yet either, but City Winery has a lot of great acts come through there. Sawyer Fredericks usually plays there when he comes up here. One of these days I'm going to try and get to see him too, because I love it.
We're a cultural wasteland here in Michigan. I'm sorry. Just the way it is.
Well, I mean, you couldn't get to like even somewhere like you're what, 2 hours from Kalamazoo, right?
Yeah, about 2 hours from Kalamazoo and about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Chicago, depending.
Yeah, so you could if you wanted to make a weekend of it and spend the night, whatever you could do.
And
it's not a big deal.
2 hours from Kalamazoo.
Yeah, hour and a half.
45 minutes.
Yeah, the way you drive. Anyway, point is.
Oh, is Mary sitting over there?
she's listening to the headphones. She's like, wait a minute, we're 45 minutes, and I said, the way you drive. All right, go back. This is my show now.
Yeah, we have a friend like that too. She can drive from the north end of Boston to the south end of Boston in 10 minutes, even though it's supposed to take 35.
An hour. We'll take an hour to Kalamazoo. But still, we don't get a lot of great shows in Kalamazoo, to my knowledge. South Bend would be a better choice, I think. So, and that is about 2 hours away. Olivia Newton-John on the Get Physical concert. Ooh.
Susie, when did you see Toto? Because I saw them in 1980 on the Hydra tour, and they were terrible. I didn't see them after they became really huge after Toto 4. I'd love to see them now, especially with Joseph Williams if he's with them, because
Alabama in the 80s was very hot, very, very hot.
Mary, naughty.
I'm downvoting that comment. There you go. I'm not directionally challenged. I just don't drive like you. There you go. There you have it.
So, it's just about the top of the hour.
Yep.
Got a good discussion in. What do you got? You have a busy week coming up, I'm assuming.
This is the busy week. So Finding Music Mojo is every other week, and we will be back in 2 weeks on our channel, but not next Monday, but the Monday after. So thank you for that. TC and I will come up with another great idea. Tomorrow, we're doing three things, actually. Tomorrow at noon Eastern time is Chick Chat. So come on by, subscribe to the channel. Mary and I will talk about many things and discuss. Shut up. And discuss, we'll discuss my directionally challenged versus her driving lead foot. There you go. Also, at 3, we're on Johnny's members only auction, or I'm sorry, it's not an auction. It's a
buy it now.
minutes. It's a buy it now kind of speed roundy thing. We're doing that at 3 on Cajun Roots Resellers channel. So come by for that. You don't have to be a member to watch it and buy things, but you do have to be a member to be on it. And then at 7 tomorrow night, we're on Whatnot. Hit it,
Yes,
Hal.
you are. Getting there.
Okay.
I can't do that and chat at the same time. So
I know, right?
Switch over.
I was waiting. But anyway, and then Wednesday, we're doing the Hump Day auction on Johnny's channel. It starts at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Thursday, we are again doing Chick Chat at noon Eastern. And then Friday, I believe it starts at 3, is on Dawn Southern Finds channel is Deals of the Dawns. And I think Johnny's going to be on that show too. I think he said something about that today. So that's what we're doing all week. And plus I'm working out of the house a little bit, helping some friends out. So it's going to be a fun week for me. Busy. Cool. What are you doing, TC?
This week I'm going to be having a severely curtailed schedule because of the not getting the office done, but I will have my daily Obscuria up Monday through Friday at 11. Mm-hmm. I will be doing flashback tracks on Thursday and Label Nova on Friday, both of those at 4 p.m. And then over the weekend, we will have the usual stuff on Saturday. The Kirkham Report will probably not appear until Sunday, but the retro, Power Tracks 50 Countdown will be on Saturday at 7. Retro Radio will be taking this coming Sunday off, and we'll be launching the second season the following Sunday.
Cool.
And then everything else, hopefully, will be back after I get the new setup done.
Get that space done, buddy. Get that space done. Okay, yeah. A couple of comments. Scott's usually the one causing the problems between couples. Tonight it's not you, Scott. You're good. And Larry is, yes, she's brutal. I think she had her vitamins. I don't know. Maybe she had her second cup of coffee. I don't know. Anyway.
Susie, it was nice to meet you too. We're glad you stopped by. Always. We're always welcome here.
Yep. You guys are always welcome to come in. And please don't be shy about dropping comments after the show is done to either TC or I about what you'd like to discuss music-wise, because we're always open to suggestions.
Lots of ideas and stuff. We're looking for your ideas and input. Yeah.
And if you want
to... And if you haven't subscribed to either channel, you need to do that too.
You should do that. But if you want to come on and talk about your favorite music too, I'm sure we could vet you out and find out if you're, safe to come on camera. Don't be shy.
Guests are always welcome. Just tell us what you want to do.
Yeah, just let us know. There you go. So thank you, everybody, for coming in. I do appreciate it. Both of us do.
Yes, we do.
TC's got the power to control the channel, so this week. 2 weeks.
Well, I could just let it sit here live and get up and walk away, but that wouldn't do any good.
Scott is not safe, he says. Yep, there's no safe word for Scott, I'm sure.
Everybody, we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you here in 2 weeks. And be sure to watch all the stuff on Two Hip Chicks this week and check out my stuff as well. For Finding Your Music Mojo, I'm TC from TKRVideoCentral.
And I'm Dawn from Two Hip Chicks.
And we will see you on the interwebs.
For sure. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Peace out.